Hello, my name is Abigail Rose Gazda, and I am excited and honored to be here with you to talk about all things journaling. I am a three-time author, a clarity coach, and the CEO of Hearts Unleashed. I am also the host of the Hearts Unleashed podcast, which I will tell you a little bit about later. I am also 5+ years sober, and what feels most important to share with you today is that I am an avid, avid journaler. So today we're going to talk about journaling. Whew. Not only have I filled a lot of journals, I've actually published a lot of journals and trackers that are very helpful and good resources for those who are considering starting their journey with tracking and journaling. One of the most important things to say as we start this journey together is that my life is a manifestation of the journaling work I've done. As I dive into this topic, the journaling work also is an extension or one of the modalities of taking on inner work, which I will share a little bit about as well. And for my note takers, there are three main topics that I want to talk with you about today: the types of journaling, the benefits of journaling, and how to journal, so that you really walk away today feeling supported and like you have the resources that you need to start your journaling journey. I am a teacher first and foremost. I call myself a clarity coach. I help people get clear about who they are, what they want, where they're going, how to get where they're going, and how to remove what's in the way. Because we know that we often envision what we want for our lives, but we have these barriers, these obstacles, some obvious, some not, some conscious, some subconscious, that we can't seem to really make some notable and lasting traction in our lives. I believe that journaling does that, and I believe that the inner work does that. And so I want to guide you through a lot of that. With that being said, I will be a bit academic and literal, but I'm also going to be a bit mystical because there's something intangible about this work as well. But it's meant to integrate into something that's really tangible and manageable so that you can feel like you're putting your hands on the wheel of your life and dictating the direction and trajectory of it. Because I am not here to convert you. I'm here to give you a legitimate tool to take control of your life, to feel like you have more control over your life. Some of the intangible pieces are imagination, creativity, expression, flow, trust, surrender. Those are things that become harder to measure. They are manageable. They are something you can work with, but something I'm very committed to is taking the magic and mysticism out of the mystical so that we can really grab hold of it and use it with intention and on purpose and with purpose in our lives. My life is a manifestation of the things I've journaled on, of the things I've prayed for, of the things I've hoped and dreamed for, but then put pen to paper to be able to make these things really happen. And so as we get into the hows and the benefits of journaling, we're going to talk about how to create a life you really love and become the deliberate creator of your life. And that actually brings me to the first point that I want to make. Journaling can be for everyone. You may be listening to me and have never journaled. You may have absolutely no desire to journal. You may be giving me the literal or internal eye roll, or you may have dabbled. You may have tried and failed. You may have seen some successes. You may have started and not seen what you hoped and then therefore quit on it. You may love journaling. And if you love journaling and this isn't new information to you, just stay in tune with me and see if there's some sort of new information, some sort of fresh access point to turn it up from intermediate to expert or expert to out of this world phenomenal. I actually just talked about readiness levels, right? Readiness meaning absolutely not to, oh, heck yes, sign me up. I'm into it. I do it. I have as many journals as you and more. So those are readiness levels. Or let's even call them willingness levels, because you may not be willing to hear what I have to say. Now let's talk about the learning styles. There is visual, auditory, written, and reading. And then kinesthetic is to do, but to put your hands on it, try it, fail, Tinker helps you to retain and learn and process information. So there's various types of learning styles, which is very likely why if someone just tried whatever they thought was journaling and it didn't work, might be a really good reason why one, it didn't work. It probably didn't match your learning style and considering your readiness level, as well as how to tailor it to you. So I'm going to lean into talking about the different types of journaling. I'm naming as many as I can think of, and I'm going to describe them. But please know, I don't even know that I could possibly know all the types that people have invented and come up with and strategies for journaling. And some of them overlap, and I'm going to do my best not to get ahead of myself, because when I start talking about the types of journaling, I end up talking about how to do it and the benefits. And so some of this will become interwoven, but I will do my best to keep it separate and bring it all together too. My guess is that people don't journal because they've only been introduced to one or two ideas of how to and why to, and it didn't fit. It wasn't relevant, and we tossed out the baby with the bathwater. There is so much goodness available. If our learning style and our readiness level doesn't match the type of journaling we're being shown, it's easy to shut down, disassociate it, become overwhelmed, check out, and just not be interested. As someone who is 5 years sober, who has taken on the inner work, who is growing a business, who is, growing my relationships, worked a 12-step program, like all these different things, journaling was so essential. And most 12-step programs introduce the concept of journaling as a part of processing, documenting, note-taking, reflecting. Like there's so many types of journaling in the 12-step programs. So when it comes to types of journaling, some of the most predictable is you get a blank notebook, you open it up and you just start writing. Sure, we'll call that free flow. And with free flow, I want to offer two modalities as well, which is pen to paper and keyboard. So there's, you sit on your computer and type and type and type. That's great and all. There's something different about both of those. The next distinction or type I want to offer is diary and journaling versus writing. Consider writing with a point. Maybe we're writing a book, we're writing a paper that's due, we're writing an email. It has a clear context. Whenever you're writing as a means to an end. With diary and journaling, it's much more of that free flow type I was talking about, where you don't know where you'll end up. You don't know where you might start. Diary and journaling often is more associated with feelings, thoughts, feels more private. It's more for you and kept near. Different from tracking. Tracking is still kept in a tracker or a journal. It's much more rigid in its format. For example, I am someone who tracks my business, to-do listing, things of that nature. I also track my cycle as a woman. Daily, I'm writing down my experience, my emotions, my cravings, my body, my mind, my heart, the moon. Like there's all sorts of things to keep track of. And that is a different type of journaling. Now with diaries and journals, we may do that daily also, but it doesn't mean we're tracking something specific. Tracking, kind of like writing, also has a context to it. When we're tracking something, we're clearly paying close attention to something, and then we're making notes about it. Similar to documenting. Documenting is often recorded to share. We might add more context to documenting something, knowing that someone else will be consuming that information. For me, when I'm tracking my cycle, that's not for anybody but me. So I have abbreviations, I have notes, I have things that would not make sense to other people. When we're documenting something, we are filling it in more fully for consumption and for sharing and potentially for analysis. Which brings me to another type, Bullet journaling. Bullet journaling is very specific and can be individualized, but has a lot to do with high productivity. Bullet journaling has an index, has a strategy, has symbols to it, has prioritization to it, has a certain organization to it, much like bullet journaling is listing. In fact, I want to show you because this is my bread and butter and my saving grace is I have just my good old-fashioned legal pad on a clipboard where I write my business and life admin to-do items because in fact, I'm going to talk about one of the benefits right now. We don't have to keep everything up here. In fact, as I'm sharing all of this with you, I hope you're jotting things down that feel important to retain. I do not trust this noggin to retain, nor do I want it to. I want a clear head. I want a clear heart. I want a clear body. I don't want to store pain, trauma, to-do lists, tasks, obligations, deadlines. I don't want to retain that in here. I am free and free flowing. I live a fabulous, flexible, easeful life because I get stuff out of me and onto paper. So I'm leaking into benefits. I'm getting excited about all this, which I tend to. So I'm just offering that because listing for me is such an important piece, but it's not journaling to me. It doesn't do the processing, the emotional processing. It just does the work that I don't want my brain to be doing all the time. I got plenty of work up here for myself. I invent work for myself. Remembering lists is not one of them. These next two types are important and kind of go up with free flow and the aimless sort of writing, which is acknowledging emotions. So we just write emotions down, we write phrases down. I like the idea of calling it word vomit, but acknowledging our emotions is a very powerful type of journaling we can do to move through emotions. Most people feel feelings much longer than they have to because they're actually suppressing, avoiding, compartmentalizing. So let's say anger is sitting over here and it's like brewing in us and it's like it's chattering, it's angry, but we're like, no, 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 I don't have time for you. No, I don't know. No, 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 no. It waits. But if we let it come in and we let it come up and we let it come through, now we can really you can't let go of something you refuse to hold on to. And journaling is a form of that. Like when it's on paper and you're staring at it and you're reading it and you're rereading it, it's like, I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm confused. I'm tired. I feel alone. I feel abandoned. I feel unseen. I feel unheard. To get to say those things is so freeing because then we can close the book, we can burn the page, we can tear it up, we can do whatever we want to it. We can rewrite the story. So writing emotions, and another form of writing and journaling is word association, is to write. Let's use gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you for my healthy body. Thank you for the home I get to live in. Thank you for the fact that I have a computer that I can talk to hundreds of people with all day, every day. Making associations, and maybe that's processing trauma, anger, frustration, abandonment. I remember when I felt abandoned. I was abandoned at 5. This happened to me. And so it starts to trail, right? And I know I'm getting into the how-to. I'm getting so excited to continue to share this with you. But the word associations and expressing emotions is this trail you can follow. So it's a writing style, it's a journaling style. You just open up that blank piece of paper, and in fact, another style is prompts. That's more the how, so I'll get into that later, but prompts are really powerful for these two. Another style or type is opposite hands. There is a whole type of journaling committed to writing with the opposite hand because it's activating other parts of your brain function, and it's also requires a different pace, and usually it represents a different voice, a different part of you, somebody else's voice that sort of lives in your head, things that we want to listen to or channel or move through. So, non dominant handwriting is very powerful as well. And very similar to that is parts work or letter writing. So this would be with your dominant hand, or keyboard writing is pretty good for this too. I do find it to be a bit more intimate and emotional, but what I mean is like you're really sitting with and pulling through. And so parts work and letter writing is writing to and from the different parts of you, the different ages of you, the different egos of you, your inner children, your inner parent. It's not just about your age and under, it's your age and over. There's older versions of you that you can get in touch with that would offer you guidance and clarity. To me, that's some of the most special journaling and writing and meditations available. You can only go as far as the one you left behind. What I mean is your inner team. So if you have an inner child that was harmed and traumatized at age 6, and you don't embrace her and integrate her or him, and you're trying to just like go on with your life, that little one still feels abandoned. Therefore, you as an adult, part of you feels abandoned. You cannot separate yourself from the various parts of you. These are these core memories, and journaling and meditating really helps us slow down and be with the parts of us that need love and care and attention and affinity and embrace and integration. If the 20-year-old version of you made a major life decision that altered the trajectory of your life. I've met so many people who are angry with the young adult version 16 to 25, where the life decisions, college not college, kids not kids, marriage not marriage, all these different types of life altering decisions, where we may resent a younger age version of us. That version is just always living with that resentment, with that anger, with that disdain. And so we can't fully, if we are not in our totality, good, bad, and indifferent, then we are therefore split. We are fractioned. Therefore, our power is diffused into multiple versions. And so that the better we can get our team together, the better we can get on board with ourselves and head unified in a direction we'd like to be heading, instead of everyone pulling each other in different directions. And this is all internal. And parts work is a great way to get the team on board, okay? Letter writing to those different parts, letter writing from those different parts. That's where opposite hand journaling often comes into play, is like you're letting the 16-year-old write through the opposite hand and she's sending a message. Now, does it have to be the opposite hand? Absolutely not. It could be typing. It could be what I'm about to share also, but it could be handwriting as well. The last two I'm going to share is video and audio. I saved these for last because I think they set a new precedence for journaling and those who have had resistance to journaling. If you have any sort of, let's say, a learning disability, dyslexia, low comprehension, some people are just illiterate, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean journaling isn't for you. We need to sort of redefine what journaling is. And that's something I'm committed to, because I can pick up the phone, hit record, and start talking to dear 16-year-old you. Girl, I see you. I get it. I know I can do this. And it's so informal because it's not for anyone, it's for you. As we get into how and why to journal, we'll talk more about what I would record and why I would do it. Audio. Hey, Abigail here. Today has been a tough day. I am not feeling really good. I want to quit the day, go back to bed, and try to start it over. I think I'm going to take a hot shower, treat myself really well, because if I don't, I'm nervous that I'll do what I always do and I'll hide out, or I'll just spiral into anxiety, right? So I'm just talking as if, because I like to talk to somebody. I'd like to process. I need a sounding board. I am a verbal and kinesthetic learner. So touch, doing, Watching and doing is how I learn. Reading, I don't want to learn by reading. I'm a writer and I don't want to learn by reading. So there's really nothing wrong with how you learn or how you don't learn. What's really important is to learn how you learn and maximize that. It blows the ceiling off of your possibility and creates a whole new world of what's available to you. So those are the types of journaling. I hope that wasn't too overwhelming. Let's shift a little bit into why we would take this on. I hope that in the types, we started to open up what's available, the fact that there's so much available. And why we would do this is to begin to set ourselves free and shift ourselves in motion and momentum that we'd really like to be going in. So let's start with journaling provides clarity. Who doesn't want more clarity to get the answers they seek? And I know that life, recovery, relationships, work, all of it can sometimes feel like reaching around in a dark room, just guessing at what you're grabbing at, guessing what you're going for, guessing where you'll end up. Journaling is the flashlight. Getting your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions onto paper or onto a Word document is really helpful for a lot of reasons. And one of those main reasons is to look at it on paper is a reflection practice. Without necessarily setting out to do it, you will start to see patterns in your speaking, in your life. Another, I didn't list it as a type of journaling, but I would probably put it under documenting and tracking, is timelining. Check this out, y'all. Please hold. Okay, I'm really honored to show this to you. For 8 years, I have been timelining my life. This started with these two. I really liked this brand, and then they changed it, and that made me mad. So I invented my own. You see, this says the Hearts Unleashed Guided Journal. This is a tracker, and I've made one every year for 5 years, and I am so proud of them. This is this year's 2025, and this is 2026, which I am so proud of. But what I want to show you is that for 5 years, every day, I write down what happened in my life. I can tell you, check this out, I can tell you what I was doing on August 9th, 2022. I had a client call, a work lunch. I had Spanish practice. I worked, I did some admin work. I had a meditation. It was my aunt's birthday party. The reason this is really important, this is timelining, this is documenting, this is tracking, right? Also, what else is included in this type of journal that I built is I am grateful for. This is a gratitude practice. This is from 2022. I am so happy and grateful to be speaking my boundaries. I was practicing boundaries in 2022. And so when my ego gets in my way and is like, you ain't nothing, you're no good, you're whatever the ego wants to say, whatever my inner critic wants to say, whatever toxicity wants to creep up, your business is not doing well, you're never going to make it, you're lazy, you're entitled, who do you think you are? This is who I think I am. I don't have to think about who I am. I wrote it down. This is so important. This is so valuable because black and white, ink to paper, not whatever craziness I invent in here based on my hormonal range right now. This is not made up. I offer that to you because there's so much clarity, consistency, validation, affirmation, reflection. I think the reflection is so powerful because I have a lot of clients come to calls like, oh no, I'm sliding backwards. I'm reverting. I reacted to something negatively. I said the wrong thing. I chickened out. I love to ask, how would you 1, 3, or 5 years ago act or react to this? It's not the same as right now. You are not who you were that many years ago. And journaling provides evidence of that. Journaling shows your traction and your progress. And so you can look at the gain in your life, not the gap between where you are and some imagined ideal that you're supposed to be or should be. When you look that way, all you see is how far you have to go. It is healthy, important, and essential to look at how far you've come. Journaling is a literal paper trail of how far you've come, of how much progress you've made. And when you need acknowledgement and you don't necessarily have a place to go get it, your journals are that. Even if, because I know I've had some journaling sessions where it is not a pleasant experience and I'm not being very kind to myself, but those are 10% of what I'm ever writing or journaling. And so there's so much more evidence for your growth and your success than there is of your failures or your insufficiencies. A concept I want to share about journaling and why and how is drain the well. If you're the note-taking type, write down drain the well. I don't have a lot in me because I've gotten it out of me. I am not disproportionately reacting to my present because I am not holding on to or storing my past. I have processed as much of my past as has been shown to me. And when more is shown to me, when more is surfaced or dislodged, I get in a call with a therapist or a coach. I get into my journal. I get into meditation. I get in the mirror. I really love mirror work, sitting in the mirror with myself. That helps me hang out with the parts of me. I bring my journal to my mirror work. I sit there. I see things. I hear things. I experience things. I say things. And some of it ends up in the journal. So drain the well is both a feeling and a practice. So when we do sit down to journal and I tell people drain the well, I'm saying say everything. Say everything. Leave nothing unspoken. Leave no stone unturned. Let it all out for once, would you please? There's no judgment here. Just say the things. Say the most weirdest, grotesque, angry, resentful, hateful, spiteful thing you can say, because if you don't let it out, it's in. You think that just because you won't say it doesn't mean you don't think it, doesn't mean you don't feel it. Saying it moves it. But if you're always trying to hold it, that's a lot to hold, especially after a lifetime of experiences. So drain the well. Another piece of benefit with that is that when you're doing that, you're developing your communication skills and you're also beginning to practice self-regulation. When you sit to journal, and if you were really committed to developing a journaling type practice, now you're going to make your way all the way through the messy beginning, the thoughts, the chaos, the confusion, whatever else is there, whyever you would want to talk about a certain something. Once you've drained the well, you really have diffused the charged emotions. And that gives you, it creates this shift, this access point into expression, and it starts to become more coherent. And you might start to draw new conclusions and have certain realizations. Beyond that, starts to become this sort of channeling experience where you feel like you're getting some guidance. Again, the revelations, the clarity, it might be coming through you and to you from a higher power, or it might be coming from within, where it's the experience you're having because you're no longer only suffering from the pain of an experience. When we diffuse the pain and suffering, we can start to shift into regulation, clarity, consciousness. Oh, so much, so much. Which is an important promotion piece for journaling, if you will. I believe it's Einstein, and forgive me because I'm about to botch a quote, is you cannot solve a problem in the environment in which it was created. Physical environment, but much more the mindset or the frequency environment. Problem mindset sees and creates problems. Solution mindset sees and creates solutions. Journaling helps you make the transition from problem mindset to solution mindset. journaling is one of the most tangible practices for this shift, okay? We can come to journaling with that and word dump and list our emotions and make word associations. Maybe we make some lists, maybe we audio it or record it. Diaries, journals are a safe place to do that. And I have had many a client who do not feel they have the privacy they need to have a journal or a diary. So I empathize and I understand that there are some situations where having your thoughts and words and feelings on paper does not feel safe, may not be safe. Maybe someone's reading them. Maybe you don't have guaranteed privacy. I understand that. One thing I know is that there are the notes apps on phones have a lock mode. So there are privacy options to that where you are the one with the code to get into things. So please do not make the lack of privacy the only reason you cannot journal, because it's so powerful, okay? The more you do it, my experience has been the faster you can make the shift, okay? Sometimes all it takes is me sitting down at the journal to be like, oh, I'm in my new mindset. Here's the answer. I get it. It's clear. We talked about prompts, and I will get into that with the how, but because it's on my mind at this moment, I want to offer that some of my favorite prayers are so simple. Some of my favorite journaling prompts are so simple. Please help me with, and just finish that sentence. Please help me with. And thank you for, and list and list. Thank you for, thank you for, thank you for. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm so happy and grateful for. Those are great prompts to start to shift. Another little bonus prayer that's just for me personally is help me with my disbelief. I surrender my disbelief. I surrender my fear. I surrender my insecurity. I give it to you, God. I give it to you, higher power. I give it to you, Spirit. I can't carry this. I give it to you, Earth. Please take this from me. I give it up. I share it. I need help holding it, because so often our problem mindset is that the problem is this eternal problem. I am blank. There's no answer for me. I am less fortunate. I do not deserve. And those are stories, and that is made up. And journaling helps us make our way through some of that. Prompts and prayers and draining the well will help you move from fog to sunshine, to clarity, to perhaps some answers and solutions. And the last piece of this part that I'm talking about is that journaling as a practice inherently is slow and still and silent. And I want to use solitude because it's you and you. I do host journaling groups where we are together, all doing our own thing. I'm playing music in the background. I love those days. And journaling is inherently a solitary practice. So I believe that stillness, silence, space, and solitude are what most of us need to get to that solution mindset, to see and sense solutions to the problems we're navigating in life. And so journaling, although task oriented, is a practice in those 4 S's. Because when we slow our physical body down, we slow our head and our heart down. We slow ourselves down energetically. And that's where most of the answers are. The answers are not in speed. This is from a 12-step program that I had worked, but to become an actor, not a reactor. And so to really be in action, to really choose our lives, we want to have some of that clarity and direction. And journaling can offer that to us. Because I'm going to start to shift the vibe here. But one thing I say about journaling and coaching and therapy, any sort of thing where we are expressing ourselves, is there are no words more powerful than your own out loud. I have said things based on people asking me questions where I'm like, I've never said that way. I didn't know I feel that way. I've never had that thought. That's what audio, recording, writing, any of them, things come out that you've never said before, you've never expressed before. So you're like, oh my gosh, wow, how insightful about myself. Like, the more we can get into our heart and feel, and journaling helps us get out of our head and drop into our heart because we're slowing down, we're being intentional. we're draining the well, and now we're communicating, and we've opened the channel here. I'm gonna get mystical. This is, so we have our crown chakra, our third eye chakra, our throat chakra, our heart chakra, our solar plexus. Below our belly button is the sacral chakra, and down at the base of our spine is the root chakra. These are our energy centers, and communication is very tied to these energy centers being in flow, and therefore us feeling in flow. And if we've got trauma and unspoken words and unkept promises and resentments and grudges just blocking this whole body, like, good luck trying to feel good, because there's all this stuff and you can just dump it out. Journaling is taking out the trash. Journaling is emptying, emptying, emptying. Don't take out of the trash to create today. And if we don't take it out, it's in here and we are creating the day with it. This isn't all bad, by the way. We're going to make the shift right now into manifestation, creation, intention setting. We want to clear this vessel, because when it's clear, now we're in creation mode. We are creative beings. And please don't tell me I am not creative. I'm not an artist. If you create all day, every day. It's not a matter of if you are a creator, it's a matter of how you are a creator. And so let's talk about how to create something we want to be creating. In fact, I'm going to show you something that I do in my every single month and that I do with my community. February, I am a yes to my greatest life. March 2025, expansion comes naturally to me. June, I trust in the perfection of divine timing. I think you get the point. We have an affirmation in the Hearts Unleashed membership every month, and we affirm it and we journal on it. I give a list of journaling prompts to my community to journal on. Journaling prompts are very helpful. And now we're going to start to shift into the hows. And the last thing about the benefits is intention setting, is manifesting a life you actually want. Declare and fulfill. Speak life over your life. I'm sure you've heard that somewhere at some point. Speak life over your life. Your words create your world. So if all you're ever speaking is fear, hatred, resentment, disempowerment, then sure, you're right. You can be right about that. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. How to journal. I love the existential, yeah, cool, good for you, lady, but how do we do this? How do I make it work for me? It hasn't worked for me, and you have all this evidence of why it hasn't worked for you. Let's talk about that. Number one, patience. Patience, grasshopper. Patience is a lifelong lesson and journey. So if you don't figure it out, practice more patience with it. And then to figure out patience again, you practice more patience with it. I'm being facetious, but patience is a major key in figuring out journaling, but just figuring out life. One of my favorite ways to practice patience is with a little bit of help. Set a timer. Set a timer. And I'm gonna be real with you. If it's journaling, set a timer for at least 30 minutes. If it's meditation, start with 3 minutes, move to 5 minutes, move to 7 minutes, move to 10 minutes, then move to 20 minutes, then move to 30 minutes. But with journaling, you're probably not even going to get much of anything in the first 15 minutes, because we usually spend the first 15 minutes of something resisting it and fighting it and like thinking of other things we could be doing or where else we'd rather be. If for 15 minutes you're just, I really don't want to be here. I think this is stupid. I committed to 30 minutes, but I have no idea what I'm going to write for 30 minutes. Here's my grocery list. Here's a list of what I'd rather be doing. My emotions are annoyed, frustrated, whatever's in front of you getting around to journaling. And then you're like, well, actually, I did want to talk about what I was thinking for, my next month, or the next year is actually coming up. It's already fall and summer just goes by so fast. And, you can write about whatever. You could talk. It's talking in writing form. And sometimes it's nice to feel like we have someone to talk to. And our journal doesn't give us any negative feedback unless we wrote it. So set a timer, commit to that time, and on the other end of it, see what's there. You don't have and you don't have to evaluate it. You can close the book and move on with your day and keep coming back. As with most 12-step programs, they tell you to come to at least 6 meetings before you decide it's not for you, right? So be sure to come to at least 6 journaling appointments before you decide it's not for you, to really give it a chance. And if I'm being honest, maybe 12, because you're not going to see some magical difference right away. Not necessarily, you might, and I would love that for you. But if you don't, it's not a valid reason to give up. I want to give you a visual. Journaling, meditation, therapy, coaching, all that is an energetic practice. So we're clearing our heads and hearts rapidly, meaning our energy body evolves quickly. When we drop the weight of shame we've had since we've been 10 years old, we are freed up. This is the physical, this is the energetic. So we go, and then the physical doesn't catch up as fast. So it's like this like weird leave behind. And that's a little hack in manifestation is I say I want to earn 6 figures this year. Energetically, I might be there. I want that. I'm willing for that. And then the physical has to start like clicking into place. Changes need to be made. Certain things will fall off. Certain things will come in. I will be challenged. I might feel afraid, right? So if this is moving slow, but energetically I'm over here and I'm like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And then I get impatient energetically and I'm like, well, screw it. Forget it. It's not working. It's not for me. Everyone else but me. Well, I just came back to my physical reality and locked myself there. The physical is going to be like, okay, I agree with you. Sure, that's what you say. So then there we are. And here you stay. We have to hold faith in the unseen while it becomes true, because it will. But that takes patience. That takes vision. That takes clarity. That takes imagination. That takes commitment. That takes faith. That takes trust. That takes surrender. That's where the mystical comes in. That's where the energetic comes in. That's where faith comes in. And that's the intangible part of this work. And that's why I can give you the who's, how's, what's, where's, and when's, but I can't believe for you. So I'm not here to convince you or convert you. I'm here to offer you insight to what's possible and available with longevity, with a consistent practice in whatever type of journaling you want, in meditation, in a well-being practice. And no one can do that for you. The only way to is through. And we want to skip grief, skip discomfort. We want to work our way around tough challenges and scenarios and people. Journaling is a really safe container, safe place to practice going through, saying hard things, communicating things that would be so scary to say to someone else's face or to fear. In fact, when it comes to letter writing, because we are in the how of the practice. When it comes to sitting down and doing the thing, a prompt is very helpful. Writing a letter to someone or something. When I was working out my health journey, my financial journey, my spiritual journey, healing my parent wounds, healing my inner child wounds, not only did I write letters to people or channel letters from people to me, I've written letters to money. I've written letters to debt and credit. I've written letters to places I used to live and no longer do. I've written breakup letters. I've written resignation letters. None that have been delivered. They are for me. This work is for you to gain a sense of completion in your life, to really close the open, untied, loose ends of your life. And so letter writing or starting with a prompt, starting with a question, starting with a complaint even, because if you can shift from complaint to curiosity, you're going to make a powerful shift in your life. And that's where the solutions start to come in. And I've said this a few different ways, but I want to say it explicitly in this how-to section. Just write sloppy. There's no grade for this. The sloppier, the better, I think sometimes, because if you're trying to perfect it or do it right, it starts to constrict us. Like if we can't make a spelling error or if capitalization and punctuation are the point of you journaling, then you're missing the point. Get the emotions out of your head and your body. I don't know if this is a how or just a piece of encouragement is you do not have to know what you're doing. I think it's one of the biggest obstacles to people making real progress because I've heard this from people, both journaling, meditation. It's like everybody else seems to get it and I don't. And I don't understand. And to that I say, whatever. Who, what, where, when, why? Who's grading your journal? Who's going to read it? Who's going to see it? Nobody. Get out what you need to get out. It is a fib to think anybody else has it figured out. The only reason I can coach you on this and talk to you about it is because I've been doing it for 10 years. Actually, this one, this one, this little cutie, it has the locket on it. This belongs to Abigail Gazda. The first one, April 3rd, 03, 2003. It is 2025, 22 years ago. These are poems of a middle school girl who has crushes and feelings. These are songs and poems I used to love to rhyme. Ah, I love her. I talk about homework. Wonder, ask, and explore. Anyways, I have evidence of being an angsty teen. And I say so because I didn't know what I was doing then, but I was expressing myself. I was writing rhymes. I'm really good at expressing myself because I've practiced it, because I've done it, because I enjoy being free. I enjoy sharing and teaching the possibility of what's available when we do set ourselves free. I don't have it all figured out. I still show up to my journal today asking for clarity and guidance. It's just that I'm navigating something new these days than I was in 2023. And you always will. You will always be growing. You will always have fresh new questions. There is no made it moment. The journey of life is a journey. It's just day in and day out. And I'm sure that can be very exciting and that can also be very daunting. What I'm here to offer is that by deciding it's going to go well, it can. By wanting it to go well, it can. By declaring it can go well, it can and it will if you decide. But it requires responsibility and intention. And for those of you who say it's too much responsibility or intention, so is suffering from what you don't want to be suffering from. This truly is one of those forks in the road where I want to say, choose your hard. It is hard to have a consistent journaling practice. It's also hard to pay the consequences of not having a journaling practice. Anxiety, suffering, pain, aloneness, lack of expression, lack of direction. Those are no fun either. I would certainly not choose those over, oh God, I gotta go journal again. I gotta make time. I don't know what to write today. This is confusing. This is stupid. So what? Write it down. Write about how stupid it is. Because by the end of that journaling practice, it won't seem so stupid. You might even come out with a couple of realizations. And that's where I'd love to begin to wrap this up. The realizations, channeling the infinite insight and intelligence that wants to come to you, that wants to come through you, doesn't have a way to when you're all blocked up by whatever you're blocked up by. What I know about each of us is we are brilliant. We have greatness within. We are made in the likeness and image of a very high, beautiful power with unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, unconditional forgiveness. So much of us are missing access to that blissful feeling because we're weighed down by what I refer to as the wet blankets of life. I know we've had tough lives. I know you've navigated a lot of crazy stuff. And I know that you are not your past. You are not what happened to you. You are not your story. You get to write the story, especially if you put the pen in your hand. But I do hope that you sincerely give journaling your consideration and your practice. And I want you to know that you are not alone in this process. If you look around, you're surrounded by people, whoever else is watching this video, whoever else is invested, whoever else is in any of the programs you're in. And there's me. You can reach out. You can send me an email. we can connect. I'd be happy to support you. I'd be happy to have you join any of our journaling sessions or grab the guided journal or any other resources. I want to offer my YouTube channel as well, Abigail Rose Gazda, and also abigailgazda.com. All of those things are great places and great resources. Heartsunleashed.com, the Hearts Unleashed podcast. Those are all great places to get the support you need beyond this individual conversation, because you do have greatness in you. And I am personally and professionally committed to helping people live with their heart unleashed and shine light to others that healing is possible, emotional freedom is possible, emotional sobriety is possible, substance sobriety is possible, all the things, because we deserve to live great lives and we deserve to leave others with the impression that life is great and gets better and better and better. One thing I want to deeply and truly say is that your time and attention is precious, and I want to sincerely thank you for giving me some time and attention today. I appreciate you. If you ever need to reach out, please do. I thank you and I love you.